Hello and welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm Sherry Duckworth, and joining me today is Miss Erin Turner. She's the Executive Director for Youth and Family Counseling in Flower Mound. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Erin, you have experience as a counselor working with teens, working with clients on different issues, and now as the director, I'm sure you're able to see kind of a broader and bigger umbrella of things. And so my first question for you today is, how big of an issue or how broad of an issue is the issue of bullying right now that you're seeing? Do you see kids coming in a lot with this being a problem?
It does seem to be an issue that we're seeing more of as time goes by, since I think definitely with the internet and Facebook and everything, it's just easier for kids to pick on other teens because they have that anonymity to do so.
Yeah.
So we do see a lot of that.
It's unfortunate because, it's great to have the social media. We, enjoy it for multiple reasons, but then it also gives people access to be able to, unfortunately, hurt one another.
Absolutely.
How connected is this to kids who have low self-esteem on both ends, whether the bully or the one being bullied?
I think it can definitely impact somebody's self-esteem. If you're being torn down, if you're hearing negative comments, then it's going to hurt. You're going to take it personally. And I think bullies too tend to have low self-esteem as well, and it helps them feel better about themselves if they can tear other people down. And so it can be a cycle. It's very sad.
What are some of the things to look for if you think that maybe your teenager is being bullied? And then I want to also talk about the bullies too themselves here in a little bit. But what effects are you seeing on the teenagers who are being bullied?
Well, I think low self-esteem is definitely one of them. Depression, anxiety, and that can play out in issues like truancy because they don't want to go to school because they're expecting to be bullied, to be picked on. With the low self-esteem, feeling like they're not able to succeed at school or succeed in areas. It can play out in issues like self-mutilation, like cutting on themselves, giving into peer pressure, doing things, drinking, doing drugs, trying to fit in somewhere.
It makes them more vulnerable to all of those negative outside ways of fitting in.
Absolutely.
With teenage behavior. And obviously nobody wants to think their teenager, their adolescent is, going to give into that, or, that they're not, quote unquote, strong enough to handle the pressure. But it's more than that. Can you kind of help parents understand? I guess it's difficult sometimes because you think, well, I was called names, or I got pushed around when I was on the playground when I was a kid, and, I'm okay. And so you hear that mentality, but not everybody's okay. And it does go past the point of just somebody making fun of, let's say, the outfit you wore that day. It can go beyond that. So when it does go beyond that, can you kind of help us understand and wrap our brains around what's going on internally with that particular person, especially in the teenage years?
I think that it just so much gets internalized. And if it's one day somebody picking on your outfit in person, that's not going to have as big effect as if you get home at night and you have 50 posts on your Facebook page saying, horrible things about you, or, with email or any other kind of social media or any other outlet like that. It's just the more you hear something, the more places you're getting it from, the worse effect it has on people.
Because it's a lot more with the technology, because they get text message, they get Twitter messages, they get Facebook messages. And if it's a constant bombardment on their senses, on their self-esteem, on their heart, on their mind, if this is what you are, it's hard for them, I'm sure, to not, to stop and go, well, maybe there's truth to that.
Right.
Maybe I am those things. So for somebody who's in a place like that today, what would you recommend to maybe a parent who notices it, knows what's going on, or even a teen who's watching who hasn't really shared it with anybody yet?
Well, I think sharing is a big part of it. You don't just keep it to yourself. I think parents need to be aware. They need to ask questions and find out if your child's not wanting to go to school, if they've been involved in something and now they don't want to participate in it. Try and find out what's going on there. If you don't feel like you can help the situation, then find somebody that can. Call us up for counseling.
Yeah,
talk to the school counselor. Talk to a teacher. Find someone at your church somewhere. The more support, the more positive influence, the better it's going to be for those kids.
It's that sharing, it's that reaching out, it's that asking for help. So at Youth and Family Counseling, what is your experience with how to help a teen who's been bullied?
Well, we at our agency we do counseling, once a week counseling, and we get a lot of teenagers and families.
They're going to be their mom and dad, and that's a good thing.
And I think there has to be a level of trust as well. But yes, if it's presented as this is, we're trying to take care of you, and maybe you don't need to read their texts every day, but
Right.
if you suspect that something might be going on, that there might be an issue, whether it be with bullying or you suspect, that maybe they're, involved with some type of substance abuse or something like that, then.
What behaviors can parents look for with the child that's being bullied?
I think changes in behavior, not, maybe previously being outgoing and now they're more withdrawn, not wanting to spend time with people that they used to spend time with, being more angry at home, seeming more depressed. I would say any serious change in behavior or attitude is something to question and to look at and figure out, because if one day they're one way and the next day they're different,
There's a red flag.
there's exactly, what's going on there, what made that change.
Yeah. Now, have you seen some success stories with kids who've come in for counseling who've been able to get past the bullying or to successfully, combat it in some way?
I have, seen in our agency, we have a lot of success stories with working with families and teenagers, and I think it's part of that collaboration with the family, where yes, we work with the teenager to teach them the coping skills and to do better, and make smarter choices with regards to peer pressure and things like that, which gives them more confidence. And then working with the parents too to help them be supportive of their teenager, to be willing to listen without freaking out over what they might hear.
Right.
And working together so everybody's helping this teenager deal with.
That sounds like such a great formula, because that teenager is going to learn coping skills that they can take on into their adult life too. And I think that from my perspective, from what I've heard, is that a lot of the issues they deal with the self-esteem comes into play because they don't have the confidence, they don't know how to cope properly and emotionally with whatever's being thrown at them.
Right.
So to learn that is huge. And of course, I think it's great for you to sit with the parents and teach them how to listen without freaking out, because that's a big deal too. Because having worked with teenagers, you hear people say, well, I don't want to tell my mom and dad because they're going to freak out. They can't handle it. So it's good, to kind of bring those two issues together.
Yes.
So that's wonderful. I just want to say thank you, Erin, for everything that you're doing at Youth and Family Counseling in Flower Mound, because what you're doing to help families is just incredible. So thank you for what you do for the community.
Well, thank you.
It's wonderful. And thank you all today for watching Joy in Our Town. Whereabouts in Flower Mound are your offices?
It's right on the border of Flower Mound and Louisville.
Okay.
Cross Timbers and Garden Ridge, if you
Oh, Garden
know
Ridge.
that area.
Yeah. Cross Timbers and Garden Ridge. Okay. I saw Cross Timbers, but I wasn't sure if it was...